Greetings and salutations, my darlings. I really do love living in an RV for the main fact that it is mine, and to me, that is a freedom that could not be replaced. I would, yes, I would love to have a house. I would love to have a house that's off grid on solar and, keep my bills down as much as possible. Even if I won the lottery, that's what I would want. So an RV isn't complete freedom. As we found out, we still have to have a place to park it. And that's getting harder and harder and more expensive. So, really, to me, the ultimate freedom would be some land of our own where we can live in our RV and actually turn this RV into a workshop so we can run our business. And that's where we're in a unique situation that a lot of other people aren't. A lot of people work online and, all they need is a space for their computer and their printer. I come with a lot of equipment. We assemble our own products. And we've had to learn to do that because a lot of the events we participate in, especially farmers markets, require that we make our own products. And there is something to be said for saying we make all of our own products. Our main line is our Dream Wands flower sticks for juggling. That is our bread and butter product, but we learned over the years that, that still is a very limited clientele and we needed to expand. And so we chose the things that I could already do. I do my own graphics, so selling my art made the next sense, and so that's where I work in clay. I do all kinds of stuff. I do a lot of mixed media. I like doing pencil, pen, painting. I love doing digital artwork. So I do a combination of all of that with my artwork and turn that into things I can sell, whether that is journals, notepads, and stationery. And I still need to get a button machine because I would like to expand that. I can already do my stickers. I can't waterproof them yet, but I can make my stickers. I have my electronic cutter so I can do like shaped notepads. I still need some things. Coloring books, we do coloring books too. All of these things were added on to expand our line, but they all take room. And I could literally fill this RV full of just the equipment it takes for those things. And then we have our laser engraver and our lapidary equipment and certain things that take good ventilation, so that will go into our cargo trailer for now. But we are literally operating out of a trailer and we don't have any extra money. Every dime we pay towards rent or even a rent for a place for business is money we can't put into the business. And right now, it's all got, if there's any extra money from left over from surviving, it has to go into the business. The other thing about the freedom of owning our own land would be the ability to grow our own food and raise our own chickens and maybe some sheep, some goats, to keep ourselves fed and to stay off grid as possible, to keep our bills down as low as possible. That is the key to survival when you aren't able to make a full income. Everybody talks about living within your means, and I have to do that. But I would like to expand my means. I don't even want $1 million business. That'd be cool, but I don't think I would live that differently. Like if I won the lottery, I would still want to be able to grow my own food and have a solar system and live off grid, because I feel like for me that's freedom. Not for everybody, but for me, for us. And so owning the RV is the first step, but this RV is not really made to live in full time, and it needs a lot of work. It is a 1982. I always get it wrong. Captain always laughs at me because I always get the year wrong, but it is old. It is almost as old as I am. Not quite, but almost. And it needs a lot of work. See, I'll show you. Yeah, that's pretty, ain't it? I get to look at that every day. Um, it needs a lot of work, and this is not the RV that I would want to go cross country in. It runs well. Uh, we did just get it started up yesterday, and everything's running fine, but we have to replace a hose and some antifreeze because we did spring a leak while we were parked. We've been parked here for a year, so before we head out, we're going to have to replace our hose and our antifreeze. But this is not the RV I would want to head cross country in. I don't know how long it's going to last. It's got a strong engine, but Lord knows. And I would eventually like to turn this into my workshop. And, you know, if that means me living in RVs the rest of my life, I'm fine with that. I'd like to have a camper to live in, turn this into a workshop, and maybe even have a camper for a studio. I can just see our property with 12 campers on it. But it's not about having the nicest house in the world for me. It's about having something I can sustain. And when you're poor, you spend a lot of time in survival mode. Like, the things that are important to most people are just not even in my thought realm. What's important to me is being able to stay warm, to have a safe place to sleep, and a place to go to the bathroom and eat. Those are pretty much all I think about is food, where to get rid of the food, and a warm place to sleep. And it seems like we're always struggling with one of those things. We're always low on food, or freezing our asses off, or nowhere to go to the bathroom. And so New Mexico seems to be offering the best opportunities for us right now as far as our lifestyle and being able to sustain that. And there is affordable land. They don't have as many restrictions as Colorado now has, so we can start small and build up. And they still let you move mobile homes on their roads, which Colorado does not anymore. Old mobile homes are pretty much stuck where they are. And so in New Mexico, we do have the opportunity to possibly buy a mobile home and move it onto the property and build up from there. We are both, we're in our 50s, and we both deal with health problems. So the whole, well, even RV life is probably out of our reach as far as what the young folk do. And definitely building our own home would take us a lot longer and be a lot harder on us. So, yeah, if we have to live in an RV for the rest of our lives, I'm fine with that. It's the important part is having a roof over your head, not how fancy that roof is. I ain't trying to impress anybody else. I'm just trying to survive. So, yeah, that's where we're at right now. And, once you've raised your own chickens, store-bought eggs are just sad. They really are. And it's really nice having fresh eggs all the time. I've learned to cook a lot of recipes with eggs. I can make a mean frittata, and it can be any flavor. You can have sweet, savory, throw leftovers in it, throw whatever you've got in the fridge in it. So frittatas are one of my favorite go-tos. But we eat a lot of eggs when we have chickens because it's definitely something that helps us save money, and we love our chickens. And I would like to grow my own food for a lot of reasons. I mean, you never know when some kind of disaster is going to strike, or something's going to happen that's going to raise prices of food, like right now, or during COVID. And my cats want to say hi. This is Pig. Yes. And to me, that freedom of knowing that I can counteract the raising of food prices and make sure that we are fed is more important. So, yeah. We have to build the business up to at least the point where we can work regularly. And then after that, The goal is to get land, get septic. I guess we need to get solar before that. Solar kind of comes first, but other than that, the business is our life, and that is our lifeline. And so, like, the idea of just going and renting an apartment is just not feasible for us. First of all, for these guys, um, this baby could never live without me, could you, baby? Um, no, I couldn't imagine, being able to rent a place that has a garage space for us to work out of and a place to park the store camper. And, this is our workshop. Um, we do take up more room than the average RV dweller because we've got business RVs. We've got a camper turned into a store that serves as display space and a mobile store. It saves us on setup and gives us shelter at events. And um, we also have to have a place to assemble that is not our living space. And we need to have a place for the critters. So, yeah. And someone mentioned Section 8, and I already mentioned this, but I've tried applying for Section 8 in several different areas now, and the lists are full. They aren't even taking names right now. So it could be years before we even got into Section 8, and then would we be able to run a business out of it? Would it be big enough for us to have production, or would we have to pay more rent to have a place to work? And so, yeah, right now our best bet is saving up to buy land. We did find that property in California that I am absolutely in love with, but it's $150,000, which, in our position might as well be a bajillion. So I don't know if we're going to get there or not. We're trying. $150,000 for a house with outbuildings is pretty unheard of, and it is off grid. So we could grow some chickens, grow some food, build a life there. But for now, New Mexico is our best bet, and we will get settled and start working towards solar system, building business, land. That's the goal right now. So we aren't your typical RV livers as far as, God, I wish we could travel from place to place, but we are just not in a place to do that. We don't even have solar. We don't have running water. We don't know if the water in here even works because we've never been able to get it working. We need a new hot water heater because it rusted out. And yeah, everything, that's the thing about being poor that a lot of people don't get is they're always like, well, it only takes $5. It's only $20. And it's like, yeah, but we've got about 50 places that $20 needs to go. And the business right now is the most important part of that, the business and getting solar, so that we aren't a burden on whoever we're staying with. We don't use a lot of power, but we still want to make sure that we're as self-sufficient as possible. So, yep, that's the situation there. So the RV is running. We have to replace the hose. That's going to be a run to town today. And then I'm not sure when we're headed to New Mexico for sure. I'm still not ready. I'm trying, but being sick off and on every time it gets cold and every time I get stressed is definitely gets in the way. So I've still got a bit to do before we're ready to take off, but we've got our RV spot reserved and this month's rent paid for. We're probably going to have to sell a few more things to keep up on the rent until we can get back to work. I'm feeling really good about the Albuquerque Flea Market and the Artisan Market in Santa Fe, and hoping that I'll have a better place to sell the framed art, because I still have a 60-piece framed art art collection that I have not yet been able to sell because Facebook Marketplace and eBay just have not been the right place for a lot of reasons, but hopefully there we'll be able to find a place to sell the art and maybe even get our land from that. I don't know. Means we're gonna have to rent a booth to sell our stuff in. It's always money, man. It's always. And don't have a lot to spare. So, those pounds of flesh, right? Alright, well, thanks for joining me, and thanks for all the well wishes. We appreciate them. It feels good to know that there's people out there rooting for us. So, take care, love you, and be good.